It's a funny thing in this game of show business, because you go into various degrees of it and you're not quite sure exactly where it's going to go, particularly when you're first starting out. When I first came to London, the big thing really was to get into comedy. Comedy stores were the rage, and, really, if you could get into that, then you might get picked up and get into, say, a musical or something like that. And that really was the pattern. And there was sort of certain things, as I'm sure many of the chums know, that really still resonate today. The big hit shows that are still around amazingly, like Phantom of the Opera, Les Miserables, and this one, The Mousetrap. Now, The Mousetrap is absolutely brilliant, and for those that have seen it, I will not go and spoil the ending because it's just so well done. But, one of the things about The Mousetrap that a lot of people don't know is it's a very cost-effective show because basically, the set is quite similar. And the other side of it is that the actors are there. There's no orchestration, no big drama. It's a simple, brilliant, put-together piece written by the wonderful Agatha Christie. But did you know, first and foremost, to kind of just point out that actually I went for an audition for that. Yes, I didn't get it clearly, but I didn't care. I just wanted to go and literally audition on that stage, and they were kind of looking for somebody to play, the character in there that's not exactly a nice guy, but apparently, I'm a little bit too young at the time, and they felt that I wouldn't be able to carry the part. Naturally, I was affronted. Yes, well, you can imagine today, you'd have all sorts of cancellation police on you, wouldn't you? Stuff like that. But it was great fun nonetheless. And then years later, as many people know, I was lucky enough to meet the original star of The Mousetrap, Sir Richard Attenborough, who started way back in the 50s with it. But I don't know if you know this brilliant royal connection, because this was told to me by someone who I had no idea about, in fact. You see, when The Mousetrap started, it really actually went back to 1946. Now imagine this, right, chums, that in 1946, the BBC, sorry, we haven't had a wave, have we? We'll have a lovely wave. Sorry, nice to see you. Thank you so much, as ever, for taking the time out to join me. I hope I don't bore you with these stories. I love sharing them with you because they're just good fun, But I know some people just are not interested, but it's nice to have a conversation, reach out, cleanse the palate, as the kids say on the social media platforms, and talk about something else that might be a little bit more cheery. Am I right, chums? You know what I'm saying? Absolutely, Now, yes, 1946, the BBC actually asked the Queen, who's obviously, for my generation, the Queen Mother, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, what would she like for her birthday? Now, quite what they had in mind, the BBC, I don't know. But what she actually said was, what I'd really like is a brand new story from the brilliant writer Agatha Christie. And this spurred Agatha Christie into action. You imagine this happening today? And what happened was she came up with the idea of an original radio play called Three Blind Mice. And the idea apparently, and this is the legend, apparently this came simply because there was a story in the paper about a mice infestation at Buckingham Palace, and the secrets that these people might have and all that sort of stuff. And this triggered something off in the brilliant writing mind of Agatha Christie. And so Three Blind Mice was written as a special play for the Queen Mother. Fast forward a few years, of course, and it goes into the West End as The Mousetrap. Nobody thought it was going to run for long, and the Queen Mother loved it naturally and went along to see it without fanfare on a number of occasions. But Agatha Christie herself thought, it might do about a year. All these years later, how proven wrong were they? But there's another royal connection also to Agatha Christie, because a few years down the line, it emerged that one of the sort of favourite reading things of the princesses Elizabeth and of course Margaret, plus the Queen Mother, well, they all loved Miss Marple. Right, and many years later, the Queen would always watch the latest adaptations of Miss Marple and loved the version of Julia Mackenzie. I can tell you that, chums. Absolutely. But way back in the sort of late 50s, early 60s, Hollywood was getting involved, and MGM decided they wanted to make their version of Miss Marple. But who were they going to get? Now imagine this, first time around they had an idea about Angela Lansbury, simply because of the Irish-British connection. But that didn't come off. So they turned their attentions, all thanks to the Queen Mother, who said the perfect Jane Marple is none other than the actress Margaret Rutherford. Somebody heard that, passed that on, and then that was fed into the machine. And there we have 4 brilliant movies starring the wonderful Margaret Rutherford as Miss Marple, deemed classics today, as one can imagine. But it's fascinating to think, isn't it, that literally all of that came from just a simple conversation, originally from the BBC, saying, hey, what would you like for your birthday? And so consequently, history and writing history was made. Agatha Christie remained a huge part of the royal family life for many years to come. Neil Sean in the very heart